Prep Recruiting Insider, PRI, is pleased to be back at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale for a second consecutive season. With karting, autocross, racing, and training, it's the place for all things in motorsports. It is also the home of the 2015 Indy Grand Prix of Louisiana, coming April 10th through 12, 2015. And welcome to PRI, Prep Recruiting Insider. I'm the coach, Rick Gailey, and we're so happy that you are starting your evening off with us. And it's my pleasure to introduce to you our Prep Recruiting Insider, the I in PRI, Mr. Renee Nadeau. Renee, tell us what we got looking forward to.
A very provocative and highly stimulating show today. We have, and I can see you're surprised, we have Cory Lambert on from the John Ehret Patriots with his players on. We got Tony Melita, sports psychologist, talk a little bit about a lot of things that you probably don't know anything about and we've been dying to ask. And Coach Ray St. Pierre, who coached at John Ehret and won a state title. Actually, he was part of the staff in 1981. He was a head coach in 1985 when they captured the state title. And this is going to be a great Thanksgiving show. You don't want to miss it. Everything's going to be jam-packed, a lot of information.
Well, you got me pumped up already. Good grief, this is going to be great with stuff that you cannot get anywhere else. That's what we're all about here on PRI. Content, 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 everything to do with recruiting and doing things better. And it's Thanksgiving week. On top of it, we could think about all the things that we're thankful for, like being right here, and we're thankful that you are here with us. Next up, we're going to have Coach Cory Lambert, who has rejuvenated the Ehret program, and we're so fortunate that he's here with us and some of his great players ahead. And we've got some excellent playoff games as well. Thanksgiving week's always a special week, Renee. Really, really, really close to that dome. You can smell it from here, and some teams are going to make it, and there's a lot of teams in this area have a chance to be in the dome in really just a couple of weeks. So it'll be interesting. We'll talk a little bit about that. But this is a show I've been looking forward to for a long, long time, and a lot of good friends here today. And I think you will really enjoy it. So you don't want to miss any minute of it. If you're going to get a drink or go into the dressing room, go do it now and come right back. You don't want to miss any of the show. Absolutely. We are here in the event center at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale. PRI, we will be back right after this timeout. Welcome back to PRI, Prep Recruiting Insider. I'm the coach of PRI, Rick Gailey, and we're here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale, and we're here with the insider of Prep Recruiting Insider, Mr. Renee Nadeau. And it's our pleasure to have with us today the head coach of the John Ehret Patriots, Mr. Cory Lambert. Cory, welcome to PRI.
Thank you, man.
You know, you and I have a little bit of a history going back to when you first got into coaching in this area. Why don't you tell everybody about how you and I spent some time together talking some ball?
Well, I'll tell you, you know, Coach Gailey, when I took the job over at Higgins as the offensive coordinator in 1998, coming out of college from Nicholls State, I was newly coaching and I was supposed to run the offense. They said, you got to run the wing T. I knew nothing about the wing T. So I called a couple of guys. They said, well, you need to go down to St. James. You need to meet with Rick Gailey. I called him up. He stood after school one day. I think they had a basketball game with Corey Webster and those guys. Treated me well. I mean, stood there about 4 hours at night with giving up his family time for me and our head coach, Wayne Myers, at St. James. And, you know, he's the reason why, you know, I moved Skylar Green to quarterback. You know, he told me some of the things that we needed to do and things, and you know, and that's some of the things I did, and we had an okay season that year, and then I left and went back to my alma mater, but he was a great help to me.
Cory, with the playoffs going on, I got to ask you, going back to 1992, you're a junior at Ehret under the Patriots, and you guys go up to Russ in the quarterfinal game. It was like 25, 28 degrees, three overtimes, 2 or 3 overtimes, can't remember, but it was 49-48 was the final score, if I remember correctly. You carried the ball 46 times, like 340 yards and 4 touchdowns with a win, came back with a win over Ruston when you were at John Ehret. Tell us a little bit about that event. That was a heck of an effort.
Well, I'll tell you, it was actually 4 overtimes. And Jermaine Fazan, my fullback, who was the big intricate of our offense, you know, I used to follow him a lot. We had a play called base fouling. He was 265-pound fullback. He was 6'3", and nobody wanted to take him on, so I used to get back right behind that big booger and go. And, you know, people thought it was me. It was really him. And Coach Nord, you know, he told me, he said, do not pitch the ball and do not give the ball. You make them take the dive and you make them take the pitch. And I said, yes, sir. And that's what I did. And, you know, we just started eating clock. And they had a guy named Bo Meeks who was a good quarterback also. You know, we were up for a little while. We was up, and then they came back and tied up 28-28. And if they guy wouldn't have spiked the ball on the extra point, I think we'd still be playing, because they couldn't stop us and we couldn't stop them, and it was a good game. It was like 20-something degree weather. We had a little fire pit things, and we even had oven mitts on back then, you know, to put on us. It was so cold, you know. But you know, Coach Tim did a good job preparing us for it. We left that morning. We had a good time. It was good for our guys to get out the community. You know, we went up there. We ate breakfast. We had a good little outing, and you know, we wanted to play for our coaches. And you know, Coach did a good job with preparing us, and we wanted to win that game, not just for ourselves, but for the community.
And that's what you remember most about football, are the relationships.
Yes.
The people in the locker room and the coaches and the camaraderie and the bonding that takes place with that. And you had some restructuring to do when you took over at Ehret. Things were not going as well as had been tradition in the past for the Patriots. And you had to turn some things around or get things maybe back to where they were. Mm-hmm. Tell us about what you had to do and what you did do to get things back on track.
Well, I tell you, you know, first of all, when I first took the job over, I was there with Billy, you know, Coach Noah, who was actually my coach. You know, I can't say anything but good things about him. Did a great job, you know, for 25 years. It speaks for itself. But the program, you know, we was losing a lot of kids to, you know, the different schools and things like that. And my thing was, when I came in, you know, I wanted to keep our kids. And I wanted to keep our kids from Marrero, from our area and things like that. You're going to lose some, and we know that. But majority, I want to keep our kids in Marrero, and that was my main focus. And bringing back some pride. And some new blood and some pride, and getting out in the community, reaching the community. I did some things like that, getting with some old Ehret alumni, you know, Cordell Stewart and those guys, you know, Reggie Wayne, those guys, you know, getting those guys back involved in the program, Norman Jefferson and all the older Ehret guys, Dalton Simmons and those guys back in to kind of, you know, because they got cousins and brothers and uncles and, you know, nephews out here in Marrero also, getting those guys back to see what we're trying to do. So the number one thing I did is I brought in brotherhood. You know, our kids, you know, we do mandatory study hall 4 days a week, and the only way you're exempt from study hall and things like that is if you got a C or better. If you got a B or better. If you got a C, you got to go to study hall. If you got a D or F, you got to go to mandatory tutoring. Even if you got to miss practice, they ought to go to tutoring before practice. My coaches know they miss practice for tutoring. So because we got to make sure that, for one, that these guys get out of school, and when colleges come, these guys got the core grades that they need and the things like that. And all my juniors take the ACT in December, and we do those things. We try to kind of major that. I make sure everybody's uniformed. Everybody has same, you know, same shorts, same shirt, same this, same that. We eat at the same table for lunchtime. All our kids eat at the same table. All those kids, they eat at one. They got 2 tables in the cafeteria of 2,200 kids, and they eat at that table, and they do everything at that table. We create an atmosphere, brotherhood, and sticking together. That carries you a long way, and that's some of the success we've had. You know, we don't lock our lockers. We don't steal from each other. Everybody got the same. You know, if you watch our teams play, everybody got the same socks. They got the same wristbands. They got everything the same cleats, same everything. And you know, and that's what we, you know, even the coaches, everything is uniform. And that's some of the things, you know, the little things that people say don't matter. It does matter. Creating an atmosphere. That's what I wanted to create at John Ehret, and I think we're doing that. And the guys are kind of buying into it, and it's going to only get better.
Corey, we have about a minute and a half left to go, but you had a chance to retire Cordell Stewart's number earlier this year, and that was very important to you, it's important to him, and tradition of Ehret. What did that mean to have this process done? And you can see right here a video of y'all retiring Cordell's jersey.
Well, I tell you, it was, you know, it's something that I thought was good for the community, you know, and some of the things, you know, this guy has, he's done, you know, not only has he helped me as a head coach here at John Ehret, but he's helped, you know, when Billy was the head coach. You know, he put new lockers in the back for those kids. I mean, You know, our facilities, and I know you guys will talk about that later, because you know, Mr. Ray St. Pierre had a lot to do with our facilities back there. But Cordell with the lockers and the uniforms, and just getting back into this community. I mean, our kids probably got 6 sets of uniforms. And, you know, anytime somebody, you know, dropped the kind of money he did at a program, I mean, I just think that's the least you can do for a guy, especially, you know, going on to do the things he's done. You know, I wore number 10. And, you know, not saying, you know, anything about Tyrone Vaughn or about me and things like that. I just think for what he's done for this program at John Ehret, for these young boys in Marrero, I think that's the best we can do, you know, for him as a person.
And that's Coach Cory Lambert, 18-5 over the last 2 seasons at John Ehret. We're in the Event Center at NOLA Motorsports Park here in Avondale. PRI, we're going to be right back after this timeout with some Ehret athletes. Welcome back to PRI, Prep Recruiting Insider, here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale. I'm the coach of PRI, Rick Gailey, and we're here with Mr. Renee Nato, the insider in PRI. And we have 2 terrific John Ehret Patriot athletes today. First, we have Mr. Kurt Kelly to your right, big offensive lineman, 6'4", 270-pound senior. And then to your left, Mr. Tyrus Chanel, 2-way player, both offense and defense. Welcome, gentlemen, to Prep Recruiting Insider.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Tyrus, I'm going to ask you first. You committed to Tulane. Why Tulane? Is it solid? And what other schools did you look at?
Yeah, it's solid. And I looked at ULL, Southern Miss, ULM, and it's like schools in state.
And why Tulane? What sold you on Tulane?
They made me feel like, you know, they made me feel at home, and I got a good relationship with the coaches, so I kind of like it right there. Yeah.
Now, Kurt, I've seen you play a couple of times, and you play tackle, but you look like you could play inside or outside. What schools are you looking at? You're a senior right now. How's the process? What are you looking at, and what are you looking for in a school?
Right now, I'm looking at LA Tech, Southern Miss, and Tennessee State, schools like that, and really, I'm just looking for a school that, you know, show me that they got the same, like, you know, things that I've been doing here, like as in school-wise, like study hall, stuff like that. Feel at home, you know, good relationships with the coaches, teammates, just people that I could see myself being around with all the time.
Okay, great.
And we're going to talk about some of the skills that both of y'all have at your position. Kurt, you first. How old are you, Kurt?
17.
Yes, you could tell. You have a lot of growth potential ahead of you, it appears, and that's something recruiting coaches have got to take notice that Kurt, as good as he is right now, is not a finished product yet. There's some growth ahead of you. Tell me about the skills that you have that if I had a scholarship, I'd want you on my team.
I got good feet, you know. I'm always good with my hands. I like to keep moving. I like to pull, you know. I like to be active in plays. I like to get to the next level. I'm an athletic, big guy, so I like to move all the time.
Absolutely, and you can see that. Very well put. And Tyrus, talk about, first, how old are you?
17.
Okay, excellent growth potential still ahead of you there. Tell me about the skills that you have why I would want you on my team.
Well, I'm athletic, real quick, got nice footwork, and I make big plays. I can make plays, so.
Well, Tyrus, you do play, you've been playing offense and defense. Is Tulane giving you the inclination that they're going to give you a shot at both sides of the ball? How is that going to work?
Yes, sir. He said, Coach Keep, he was telling me that I'm going to stay on defense, but like every now and then he going to give me pieces of the offense until I get it. So, yeah.
And also, as a punt returner too, you do, and is that something that you may have a chance at as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Kurt, something I know about you, you like to bring the heat in baseball. You're a left-handed, flame-throwing, 85-mile-an-hour guy. Is baseball playing to this? Would you like to play baseball on the next level?
Yes, sir.
Is that something you're looking at? If it be Tech or Southern Miss or one of the schools, you may like to take the mound? Is that something that?
Yes, sir. I've been talking with the coaches, you know, trying to get them to see if I could play both. But they've been talking to the baseball coaches, you know, trying to get them sold on me if I could play both in college and try to help me out with that, because that's what I want to do.
Now, do you carry a bat pretty well? I mean, could you play left? Since you're left-handed, could you be a first baseman?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What kind of batting average you have?
Last year, I think about 245 with about maybe 30-something RBIs maybe.
Okay, that's pretty good. So baseball, it's you juggle both. You like both.
But I'm a pitcher first.
Okay.
Absolutely, and you're going to have the frame to be able to continue to do that. Isn't it great to be at a school where you could do more than one thing, and that they encourage you to do as many different things as you're capable of doing? Kurt, you first. Growing up, you may have had a favorite team, could be college or professional, or a favorite player that you had growing up that you looked up to. Did you have either a favorite player or a favorite team when you were growing up?
Well, hometown kid, so I've always been a Saints fan since I was young. And just been not really people I looked up to. I probably looked up to maybe like Willie Roaf or somebody like that. You know, since I was 71, that's one of my favorite all-time players, the offensive lineman.
A very, very good person to emulate yourself after. Willie Roaf, great player, great person. Tyra, same thing with you.
I would say Deion Sanders. I like his swagger and his swagger on the field. Like, he can't be touched. That's why I like him. I try to emulate him on the field sometimes, you know.
And let me tell you something about him, because Renee's going to have another question for you. He was always the hardest worker on every team that he was on. I remember watching when he was at Florida State. Always the hardest worker.
In the last minute, Tyra, you have a 3.0 grade point average. What are you majoring in college?
Sports medicine.
Okay. And Kirk, what are you looking to do in college?
Communications.
Okay. And real quick, I'll start with you, Tyrus. What you guys turned it around. You're part of this, turnaround for John Ehret from 0-9 to where you are now. Why the turnaround?
We worked hard. We had a bad season when I first came. When we didn't win a game, so we just kept that in the back of our head, and we was like, we can't have that. We can't have that again. So everybody put it on their mind that we got to do way better. So we worked twice as hard as anybody to get where we are.
And Kurt, how satisfying is it to leave with 9 wins when you came in 0-9? How satisfying is it to walk away with a success story?
It's a great feeling. Just like it shows like all the hard work that we put in after that 0-9 season. It was just like a turnaround from a new coaching system. Trying to get everything back to how it used to be back in the old days for Ehret. And just everybody working hard, trying to make everybody better at practice, and making practice easier than the game.
There's 2 of the reasons that Coach Lambert is doing so much better with the John Ehret Patriots. Kurt Kelly and Tyra Chanel. We're here in the Event Center, NOLA Motorsports Park here in Avondale. We're going to be right back with 2 more terrific athletes after this timeout. Welcome back to PRI, Prep Recruiting Insider. I'm the coach of PRI, Rick Gailey, along with our Prep Recruiting Insider, Mr. Renee Nato. And we are joined by 2 terrific John Ehret Patriots athletes. First, all the way to your right, the quarterback of the Patriots, Karan Baham. Welcome, Karan. And to your left, linebacker Mike Divinity. Welcome, gentlemen, to PRI.
Thank you.
The thing I like about having these 2 guys on, Rick, is that this is a preview for 2016. These 2 guys are going to be one of the highly recruited players in the entire state and around the country. So make sure you listen to what they're saying and things, because you're going to hear a lot about both these guys. Mike, I'm going to start with you first of all. Mike, you already listed as maybe one of the top linebackers in not only the state of Louisiana but around the country. It's early in the process, but how's the recruiting process going, Mike, and who's some of the schools that you're looking at right now?
Recruiting process is going very great. Coaches come visit the school and come talk to me and other teammates like Karan. And my recruiting process, I haven't really sat down and thought about it and did research, because I've really been focused on school and practice, because we was in the playoffs, but we lost in the first round. But I'm going to sit down and talk to my mother and father, and we're going to do some research and narrow my list down.
Now, if you could just throw some schools, who's some of the schools that have knocked on your door?
Ole Miss, Florida State, Texas A&M, Oklahoma State, LSU, a lot of schools, Arizona State, it's just a lot of them.
And Karan, you're a quarterback. Man, you got tremendous running skills. It's 4.5 speed. Talk about the process. Again, you're a junior, so you'll be back with Mike next year. What's some of the schools that have been knocking on your door, and how's the process going right now?
My recruiting process is going very well. It's picked up very fast from my sophomore year. Schools is picking up interest like Missouri, Arizona State, Arizona, ULL. I mean, there's a lot of schools. It's picking up very fast.
Okay.
And you're, Karan, you're a multifaceted quarterback in a no-huddle, spread type of attack.
Yes, sir.
There's been some comparison with another quarterback there, and I'm not talking about Coach Lambert, I'm talking about Cordell Stewart. There's even been some favorable comparisons with that. That's going to be your position going forward in college, is going to be a quarterback?
Well, right now, I'm pretty don't know. I want to be listed as an athlete because I feel like I can do great things at receiver and also at quarterback. So right now, I'm not pretty sure what position I want to stick with and go on in my future.
Excellent. And Mike, you're an inside linebacker right now. Is that correct?
No, outside.
Oh, outside? Okay.
Hybrid linebacker. I can go put my hand on the ground. I can stay outside linebacker, cover, blitz, whatever you need me to do, I'll do it.
So you'll be able to do a lot of things on the collegiate level because of your versatility, and with both of it because of your intelligence.
Yes.
Both these guys have 3.5 grade point averages. And Mike, I'm going to start with you first of all. You have a high IQ in football, and I like to say you hear your tackles. You don't see them, you can hear them, okay? But you know, Ehret has had some really outstanding linebackers, Mike Phillips and Lamine Barrow has been there and stuff, and you can compare with those guys, but something you and I were talking about, you also run track, a 200 and 100 meter guy. How has that helped you, that speed as a linebacker? You're 6'3", about 220.
It helps me very well because they have quarterbacks like Karan, who's hybrid and they can run. And when I go to college, a lot of colleges are turning into spread offense, and I'm gonna have to cover. And so I think that track would be that best thing fit for me. So I run the 100, 200. I practice with Karan, and it helps me very much, especially because I practice with him. He's a teammate, so that helps me a lot.
Now, Karan, you as Coach Rick said, you had some tremendous skills. Playing a wide receiver last year and also running track has helped you a lot. But there's a story that I was told earlier this year against Chalmette. You guys were trailing 10-7. You take the team 4 plays, carrying the ball every time, 80 yards, and win the game 13-7. That kind of tells me a little about the leadership skills and the athletic skills that you have. What do you recall about that particular game, and how has it been as a quarterback first year, this year?
I mean, it's been great. I have an outstanding year. I lead the Metro in touchdown for 5A. I'm probably like 3rd in rushing yards, so I mean, my year's been great for me. The Chalmette game, I mean, I just really put the team on my back and told the coach, give me the ball. You got a quarterback who want to take control of the offense, give me the ball, let me run it, punch it in.
And you were the New Orleans Quarterback Club Player of the Week a couple of weeks ago because of a great game against West Jefferson. Tell me about some of the skills that you have that encourages your teammates to follow you.
I mean, just leading on the field. When we step on the field, once I make a few big plays, I mean, they get the team hyped, so they feed off of my energy. If I'm having a great game, the team is they're gonna want to play up to my ability.
And same thing with you. What qualities do you have that defensively makes all the other players play better as well?
Just talking to them. Sometimes it might take a little arguing, communicating, but once we see the offense is moving, we're going to move too. And you have seen a couple games when offense have been down, and we'll sit there and we'll pick it up. We'll sit there and take that responsibility, and we'll pick it up, and all of a sudden you see offense, bam, scoring. Just like the East St. John game, you saw how offense there was a little timid, and which we knew that we had to get a turnover for them, and you saw the big interception by Jerb and Jairus. And after that, Karan, he scored, the touchdowns back to back, and after that, we got that momentum.
In the last minute, Michael, you are a 3-year starter, and you've been there back in the 2009 season. How's it been to turn around in the final minute? How's it been to be where you are now and moving forward for next year?
It was at first I didn't know because I transferred from John Curtis, and I didn't know what I wanted to go with school-wise, and I told my mom I wanted to go to John Eric, which she didn't have a problem with. She wanted to choose schools, but I was like, I want to go to John Eric because Cory Lambert, he wanted me ever since my 8th grade year when I was at Ellender. So I said, I'm going to go to John Eric. I knew a lot of people like Cory, went to middle school with him and stuff. So I was like, I'm going to go to John Eric and make the best of it. And these past few years, it turned out to be very great.
Well, two wonderful athletes from the John Ehret Patriots, Mike Divinity and Karan Baham. We will be right back at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale. Get on the track after this timeout. Welcome back to PRI, Prep Recruiting Insider, here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale. I'm the coach of PRI, Rick Gailey, along with the Prep Recruiting Insider, Mr. Renee Nato. And we have a true legend of the game, a true Lamarck legend of the game. That's Lamarck Motor Company in Kenner, the big store on Williams Boulevard. Get over there and see one of the Lamarck brothers or one of their great associates to make sure that you get your automotive needs taken care of. They are the best at doing that. And our legend is Mr. Ray St. Pierre, the coach of PRI, another coach of PRI, a legendary coach and personality on the West Bank of Jefferson Parish. Ray, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate you all having me here.
You've spent your entire life working on the West Bank, living on the West Bank, working on the West Bank, bettering the lives of just hundreds, if not, and now thousands as a school board member. Talk about starting as a student back at West Jefferson High School all the way until now being on the Jefferson Parish School Board.
Well, I tell you, it started way back when we consolidated 3 schools on the West Bank, all into one school at West Jefferson High School. I was there the first year as a junior, and spent 2 years as a player. From there, I went off to college, played college football at Southern Mississippi in Hattiesburg, which has a new name now, but same school. And in Jefferson, when I finally came back, I coached at West Jefferson High School as an assistant under Ray Latouf. Coached at John Ehret High School as an assistant for several years under Jesse Daigle. And from there, always was a classroom teacher. And after that period of time, after the coaching, I decided that I'd run for school board. I did that, have been, and now been reelected recently, and make it through this one, and I will serve 20 years on the school board. So that's the history.
Ray, you know, something you touched on a second ago, you were a defensive coordinator Coach Jesse Daigle on that 1981 state title team at John Ehret, and then you took over the reins in 1985, quarterback Leonard Valentine, when you were the head coach, and the Patriots captured another state title in '85. First of all, '85, how was that team? How was that experience coming back with the gold?
Well, I tell you what, the '85 team was an excellent football team. We had Leonard Valentine, and we had 2 or 3 good receivers, and we had some good defensive players as well on the '85 team. The '81 team was kind of a team where we first started to throw the football, I guess, in our history at John Ehret. But the '80 team, which was, I thought, the best defensive team that we had, we didn't make it all the way. We got to the semifinals, and that was it. But the '85 team was spectacular in the sense of coordination between the quarterbacks and receivers and what have you. We had a lot of success that year. But neither of those 2 years did we go undefeated in any kind of way. But we got beaten regular season, but made it through the playoffs to win in both of those years.
And in 1981, there was a classic matchup at the end of the year back in the day when people were lining the track when West Jeff and Ehret played each other. And that was I think a Saturday afternoon game, wasn't it?
I think it was, yes it was.
A big classic. What are your memories of that one?
Well, the memories of that is that I guess the first memory is that we won 46-45, but my next memory was at the middle of the first quarter, we were behind 21-0. And by the time the first quarter was complete, it was 21-19. And then it went back and forth and back and forth and what have you. And one of the classic things that happened during the game was Jesse Daigle came to me at one particular point. He said, Ray, what seems to be the problem? And of course, you know, on the other team was Gary James running the football and what have you. And I just turned to Jesse and I told him, I said, Coach, we just can't tackle him. I don't know what to tell you, but we can't tackle him and what have you. But then we win the football game and people said, how did we do that? Well, I take the credit for wearing Gary James out because Gary, I think, had 260-something yards of us. And when it came for the two-point play, when it was 46-45, he was on the bench having cramps.
Well, Ray, you know, there's been a tremendous upgrade of facilities at John Ehret, and one of those was a building with your name on it, and you've meant so much to that school and what you've done there. That's quite an honor.
I tell you what, I was really honored by that situation when the superintendent first brought that up. I kind of told him, I said, you know, I don't think you can do that because I'm still alive and I don't plan to die at this particular point. And he said, no, I've checked into it. We can name buildings, but we can't name schools after people that are still alive. So I was really honored by that and what have you. And the facilities at Ehret and the facilities at the in the school system, you know, a lot of people say we had so many bad effects of what happened in Katrina. I looked at it in a different light after it happened to us. It's like saying that you know, that funds now became available for things that we hadn't been able to upgrade before, and we upgraded both of our stadiums, the fields and the tracks and so forth and so on, and we also had some funds that became available to do some upgrades at the schools. And one of the things as a school board member, I became more interested in what was happening at my high school and what have you. And we did some things to upgrade the dressing room, and we put a 4-lane practice track at the school. We did a softball field for girls softball. We upgraded the baseball field some, and the facilities are really now, I think, pretty good compared to all of the ones except for where the stadiums are at the two schools, East and West Jefferson. But then I think our practice facilities are as good as any of the schools in the school district. So I worked hard trying to do that and trying to make it equal for all schools, and we have some that we still have to work on.
That's Coach Ray St. Pierre of the John Ehret Patriots, now a school board member after winning for a 5th term. What a great job he has done here on the West Bank of Jefferson Parish. And he also can take credit to helping hire Coach Cory Lambert and the big influence that he's making on the present Patriots. We are here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale. The Lamarck Legends of the Game, Ray St. Pierre. We will be right back after this. Welcome back to PRI. I'm the coach of Prep Recruiting Insider, Rick Gailey, welcoming you back along with our insider, Mr. Renee Nato. And here we have a special guest today during this segment, Dr. Tony Melito of Winning Actions. Tony, thank you for being here on Prep Recruiting Insider.
Thank you, guys. I'm happy and excited to be with you all.
Great. We're going to talk about the mental aspect of sport. I came from a golf background as a competitor, not so much football, so I know about how important the mental side of the game is. Won't you tell us what you do, Tony, and what Winning Actions is all about?
Sure. Winning Actions is a mental training system that applies sports psychology and sports hypnosis to help athletes perform at their best. So that's basically the essence of it. It's more coaching about different mental skills and all about helping kids to enhance their performance.
You've coached on both the high school and college level, Tony, and something I wanted to ask you, a lot of players going through recruiting for the first time, all of a sudden they have a big name coach knocking on their door, a big name program, and it not only affects the player, the family, the extenuating family, and everything else. It's kind of tough sometimes when a recruit has to go through the process because it's fun for a while, but it gets to be very, very tough and pressure on a lot of people.
Sure. I think what parents and athletes can do regarding the pressures of recruiting is to learn how to manage their expectations. And when I talk about expectations, I'm talking about these strict demands that they place on themselves regarding performance or outcomes and scores. And those expectations typically puts a lot of pressure on a parent and a kid. And if their expectations aren't met, then they left feeling disappointed, frustrated, angry. So what needs to happen is for parents and athletes to replace these strict expectations with process goals, focusing on the process, on the here and now, what's going on with things that they can control. For example, I know Will Clapp last year, who plays for LSU, having a conversation with him, he said at the beginning of every football season, it's hectic and he feels overwhelmed. But the mental skills he learned through winning actions enabled him to manage and cope with that pressure, not only on the field, but off the field. So what's important is by paying attention to the process of making good grades, by paying attention to developing those relationships, those personal friendships, that's going to give you a sense of well-being, keep you kind of balanced and grounded when those pressures are on you. Learning how to enjoy your family life. So the suggestion I would give the parents and athletes is learn how to manage those strict expectations, focus on process goals, on things you can control, things in the here and now. And that's true on the field and off the field.
People are somewhat familiar with the term sports psychology, but when the term sports hypnosis comes out, it has a different connotation in reality in what you do, that heightened state of awareness that people would normally get in their mind when they hear the term hypnosis. Won't you talk to us about what that term means, sports hypnosis, and how it applies?
Sure. I see sports hypnosis as a subspecialty of sports psychology. They really complement one another. And hypnosis, it's a tool to help athletes perform at their best. So hypnosis is learning how to use your mind to perform at your best. And what's important is people need to become students of their mind and their body. And once they understand how that unconscious mind works, and hypnosis is a tool to help that unconscious mind, and you want to program that unconscious mind so that your performance is automatic. So it's really a tool. It's moving from one state of mind to another. It's a state of relaxation, and it's all about programming yourself. It's the same thing as imagery, but a little bit different. You know, the hypnosis is a deeper programming than let me just do some imagery work. Let me just image and visualize something. So they kind of complement one another. They really do. And hypnosis is not like, you know, a lot of people think of stage hypnosis. Okay, I'm gonna get you to quack like a duck and act like a fool. That's not the way it is. Right. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So it's really not much to, you know, to fret about. Nothing like, okay, this is something that's strange. A lot of my athletes, they love it. It's productive. Once they experience it, I mean, they want to keep doing it. That's true in a team situation and in individual contexts.
Tony, you know, you can't make Rick and I run 4.340s.
Correct.
But the preparation, the mental preparation, the right frame of mind for an athlete means an awful lot. And that's something that I know you were talking about a second ago. How important is that?
You know what, it's really important, you know, especially for high school kids. They don't have those mental skills, especially to perform under pressure. You know, they get a lot of reps, you know, a lot of physical reps, but, you know, they don't spend much time on the mental game. You know, it's important to have that right frame of mind. So what's important is how do you use your mind? How do you understand how the mind works? So a lot of athletes, they need to learn how to talk to themselves appropriately. We've got that internal dialogue that happens, that occurs. And as you have that internal dialogue, you're creating these mental images in your mind about what you're saying to yourself. And those images and that dialogue becomes the blueprint for your success and your performance on the athletic field. So it's really important, knowing how your mind works, knowing how to be prepared, knowing how to look at different situations that might come up in a game situation, and that, okay, you've already been there and done that. You're automatically responding to what you're already programmed that unconscious mind to do. So those mental skills are really important, knowing how to prepare for a game, knowing how to use your mind, and what are those mental skills during a week of practice. And then it's different for game day, exactly what you do with the mental game. So there's a bunch of nuances that could go all over the place.
That's right, because in our practice schedules at St. James, I made sure I had within that, train your brain and strain your brain. That we would train the brain during the regular practice schedule, that they had to utilize those skills, but also throw them situations that they had to solve. Strain your brain, because you can, in fact, train your brain just like you can any part of your body. Quick, Tony, tell us how people can get in touch with you.
Online, they can go to winningactions.com. My phone number is 837-0607. So go online, see winningactions.com, see what the program is, how systemic it is, and how comprehensive Winning Action system can provide for them.
Right. We're not talking about magic here, folks. We're talking about training at the highest level, because if your mind can believe, your mind can achieve, if it's focused in the right direction. Thank you for being here with us today. Dr. Tony Melito, a great sports psychologist. Winning Actions. We will be right back to wrap things up here at NOLA Motorsports Park, PRI. The inaugural Indy Grand Prix of Louisiana will take place April 10th through 12th at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale. Fans will experience a full 3 days of world-class professional open wheel and sports car racing, along with a wide variety of family entertainment showcasing the culture, music, and food of Louisiana. The Indy Grand Prix of Louisiana is part of the 2015 Verizon IndyCar Series. Tickets are on sale now. Call 888-996-4774 or visit their website at gpofnola.com. Moe's Pizza. Professional consideration for Prep Recruiting Insider is provided by Moe's Pizza, the best pizza on the West Bank. Stop by before or after the game at Moe's, 1112 Avenue H in West Wego. Check out their full menu online at moespizzanola.com and tell them you heard about it on PRI. Catch sportsnola.com prep football presented by First NBC Bank on Saturday as Jesuit hosts Rummel at Tad Gormley Stadium. Game time Saturday is at 6 p.m. Watch it live on sportsnola.com with Ken Berthelot and Shaw coach Scott Bain's father on the call. And welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider. I'm the coach of PRI, Rick Gailey, along with the insider, Mr. Renee Nato. And Renee, Thanksgiving week, one of the best weeks of the year to be playing. And we've got some big playoff games this weekend. Out of the 28 playoff games this weekend, half of them are involving New Orleans area teams.
And that says a lot about the talent in this area. We always talk about how much talent goes to the NFL and things, but this is, if you want to go out and see a playoff game or make it to the Dome, you're going to be watching the players of the future, the guys who are going to be playing in college and beyond that. So you want to go out whether you have a rooting interest in that school or not, you're going to be watching some outstanding talent.
And let's take a quick look at first. This is the select semifinal week because their finals are only 2 weeks away. And here are several of the games. What game really interests you, Renee?
Ooh, there's a whole bunch of them there. You know, the Curtis Brother Martin game, obviously the Rummel Jesuit game. Those two teams are very familiar with one another. St. Charles Catholic against Parkview Baptist is a game. And I tell you what, Catholic New Iberia, I did a game last year in Fox. That's an outstanding team. And Riverside, we just had them on last week. And, you know, that's a team that has a chance against Calvary. They make it all the way to the Dome.
And we've had 10 teams so far that are still in the playoffs that we've had on PRI. Now here we are with the non-select quarterfinals this week.
Destrehan is a team, and what grabs your attention? That Hahnville, that's going to be a tremendous matchup.
Oh, that's going to be a war. I mean, it's a war anytime they play. But in a quarterfinal matchup, and they've had all Thanksgiving week and all Thanksgiving Day to warm up for that one, doesn't get any better than that.
Warren Easton is another team to watch. Has a chance to make it all the way, as does Landry Walker. So you got some teams in that bunch there that have played well throughout this year. And West St. John is a team I'm very familiar with. Coach Robert Valdez has done a great job, Rick, as you know, and he has a chance to get in a dome, and he has that in his sights right now.
And the South Terrebonne Plaquemine game interests me a lot. That's two wing T teams.
Yep.
Since we're getting into that, and I've been very closely involved, especially with Coach DiStefano at Plaquemine. So, once again, Prep Recruiting Inside, a great show today.
Oh, it was outstanding. Went to a different level today.
It had to be highly stimulating.
Yes.
For cast and crew of PRI, we will see you at the game on Prep Recruiting Inside.
Happy Thanksgiving.